To the President on Agriculture. So what else does Nigeria need to a competent person who will dissect the manifesto for us and other people that are in his team? Of course, we have Aminu Goroyo, who's supposed to be here, and I hope he's here. Chairman of Nigerian Rice Farmers Association, and we've seen the pyramids. So, but why, if you take each of the items in the symposium, the master of ceremony was talking about 80 pages, a voluminous book, a bulky book consisting of almost everything that you can think of inside that will make everything possible with timelines. So the document is a very practical document, a document that we can always dust and challenge our leadership as they progress, as to whether you are meeting up to your timelines. So we know the role of agriculture. We know the role of power. And if you look at the agenda, I mean the manifesto, detailed as it is, I wouldn't want to go into details. But if we are to go into details, maybe the whole day will be spent on, highlighting the nitty-gritty of how it is going to make it possible for the peasant farmer today to create wealth for himself, create purchasing power for himself. It has spelled out every detail. And I believe at the time when we come for the execution, by the grace of God, Nigerians will see for themselves. So while we proceed, we pray for our success, we pray for that our campaigns are successful, we pray that our elections are very successful, and we are looking forward to having our dear ASIWAJU to emerge as a president, so that our dreams in Nigeria can be realized. Our dreams can be fulfilled, because our country does require this change. We need to change and join the rest of the world. It's high time. We are becoming too sluggish. We have a time now to make the change. We have an opportunity. God has given us an opportunity, and we must not waste it. Nigerians must not waste it. I thank you very much. I welcome each and every one of you. I hope I have not bored you the long opening address, but I welcome you, and I wish us all happy deliberations. Thank you very much.
Can we give a rousing round of applause to His Excellency, my boss, the two-term governor of Bauchi State, two-time minister, and also at one time managing director, CEO of both Null Merchant Bank and Inland Bank. As a master of ceremony, it is usually my task for me to actually tell people to moderate time. In this case, I couldn't tell His Excellency, Madam Dr. Isa Yuguda, and I have my reason, and I'm sure you people will really agree with me. In the year 2007, I came from the United States of America. I was shooting a film on the life and times of Malam Aminu Kano. It was my dissertation movie, and I did 3 years to shoot the movie to talk about the history of Malam Aminu Kano. So I came to Nigeria 6 times, and I'll go back over a span of 3 years. And I met Malam Isa Yuguda as governor once. Just once. I went to his house and I interviewed him because he was called Thank you. The story Let me remember exactly where I was. So, thank you, Your Excellency. Because he was called Malam. I was in America and I was studying film in Ohio University. So one day I went to the library called Alden Library, and I read a book by an American, Alan Feinstein, a white man who wrote a fantastic book titled Life and, he titled it The African Revolutionary, Life and Times of Nigeria's Aminu Kano. And Ohio University is 95% Oyibo. Every time I pass, when they look at me, I feel my ear, like, the way we see Oyibo people in the market here, and we say, Kai, see Oyibo man. And I'm sure when they're passing, they'll be feeling all these black people are looking at me. So it was the same thing that was happening in the United States. I said, how can an Oyibo man write about a Nigerian? The book was about 300 pages. I sat down in the library and I didn't leave the library till I finished the book. 300 pages. Beautiful book. And I said, I'm going to do my dissertation on this man. So I started coming to Nigeria to get the documentary facts on Malam Aminu Kano. Anyway, fast forward to the story, 2007, I came. I had the only Malam governor at that time was Malam Isayiguda. So we visited him in his house here in Wuse. And I said to him, Your Excellency, I'd like to interview you for you to talk to me about Malam Aminu Kano. He granted me the interview, and and I'd been in the US for like 5 or 6 years. So he asked me when I was leaving, when are you coming back to Nigeria? I said, Your Excellency, I'll graduate next year in 2008. He said, well, whenever you come, please come. So we just met for 45 minutes, and I left. Would you believe that when I returned 2008 and I went to visit him here in Abuja, the government lodge, the security kept me waiting. I waited and waited. When he saw me, when I saw him, he said, oh, you're the person, you're the young man who, I said, yes, Your Excellency. He said, walk with me to my car. And he said to me, can you come to Bauchi? And I said, sure, Your Excellency, I can come to Bauchi to visit you. I want to see you. No, he said, can you come to Bauchi? The next day I went to visit him in Bauchi. I sat down and waited. They gave me tea, coffee, and after some time, he called me and said, you know what? I have decided I'm going to make you my senior special assistant, media and publicity. I have never heard of the position. I didn't know what it was. He took 45 minutes of my interview with him to completely see that here was a young man who had a spark of something he could offer this country. And after that, I have been Chief Press Secretary of Umaru Tanko Al-Makura in Nasarawa State. I've been Director General of Media to the current governor of, but he discovered me. He put me here. So when they said to me, and that is the truth about ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he raises people. He lifts them up. Is it the Fasholas? Is it the Arebosolas? He just raises people. Some leaders are afraid to see young, bright spots emerge out of the 200 million people we have in this country. Some leaders who would make an inclusive governance are the ones who would embrace every little young man and bring him to... The same with Kashim Shettima. Kashim Shettima selected Zulum out of 21 aspirants who wanted to succeed him. And that's another story for another time anyway. But Your Excellencies, I'd like to tender unreserved apologies to most distinguished Senator Magari Shuba Okadigbo, the chairman of the NNPC Limited Board of Trustees. And ma'am, I owe 2 apologies for you. Because in 2000 and I think, maybe 14, I was in your house and you gave me tea. And I noticed, and that was the only time I knew, that was the first time I came across the name Magari. It's not Margareta, it's not Margaret, it's Magari. And I interviewed her for my documentary film on President Muhammadu Buhari, 2 hours. She was the one who said in the story that President Muhammadu Buhari sits on the floor when he plays with his little children. And I said, are you kidding me? So when I went and asked, before he became president, I think it was his 70th birthday, and I said to him, Your Excellency, I've interviewed Obasanjo, I've interviewed IBB, and everybody says that you make clownish jokes. He said, what? No, actually, Your Excellency, in Hausa, I don't understand. This is President Buhari that I'm talking to across the room. He wasn't president then in his house in Kaduna. He said, okay, that you have a good sense of humor. And he laughed, and he said, those ones, is it true? He said, no, go and ask those people that told you, me, I won't speak. And he smiled, gaped it, and I snapped that picture. That's how I ended my documentary film. So, would like to welcome you once more. Would like to most respectfully welcome the representative of Her Excellency, Most Distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Would like to welcome in her stead Honorable Dr. Asabe Valete Bashir, the Director General, National Commission for Women, and also the APC National DG for Women. We most warmly welcome you. Your Excellencies, I must recognize the presence of His Excellency, Felix Nicholas. Your Excellency, please can you rise for a second, let them see you. Now, please take a look at him. He was the youngest presidential aspirant in this election that produced for us the nomination for ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Thank you, Your Excellency. Today on Arise Television, I was watching the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, who delivered a speech in Chatham House. I don't know whether you know about it, but what Professor Mahmoud Yakubu said of INEC is that 76% of the PVCs collected belong to Nigerians between the ages of 16 and 35, then by extension 16 to 40 or 49. I need us as a party to would like to welcome the Chief Executive of the Diaspora Commission, the very vibrant, vivacious, eloquent Abike Dabiri Erewa, who is not just the voice on the microphone, but the one personality who articulates all the kernels of the APC. We most warmly welcome you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And I think I'd like to pay my respect to the senior advisor of the directorates. Well, we have 4 directorates in the APC Presidential Campaign Council. The 4 directorates are advised by a gentleman who is a veteran journalist, a man who has an all-encompassing knowledge and view of the media spectrum, a man who was a one-time Commissioner for Information in Lagos State, a man, Chief Dele Alake. Can we give him a rousing round of applause, sir? You're most warmly welcome. I actually saw him pass by. So you're most warmly welcome. At this point, we would quickly go on to a few remarks, goodwill messages. Like I was saying, over 70% of the PVCs are owned by youths. This is, I know that, Arise is not our best, they're not our best supporters, but at least it was Mahmoud Yakubu that was speaking today. He said Nigerians from the age of 16 to about 40 are the ones who have over 70% of the PVCs, which means, and you know what is happening on social media. I know there are no polling youths on social media, but the tidal wave of youth angst, even if it is misdirected, is on social media. We as a party must speak the language of youth and actually make sure of those 70%, we have a lot of it coming to ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Would also like to recognize most respectfully the Executive Director of Nexim Bank, Honorable Stella Oketiti, who is here with us. You're most warmly welcome, ma'am. Thank you so very much. So, because of that, we would like to make sure that we give a little few seconds for our youngest presidential candidate to also join in giving the goodwill messages. So we'll just take very, like 1-2 minutes, quickly, briskly, of goodwill messages. I would like to quickly call on Felix Nicholas to just say a word or two, and then we will take 2 other goodwill messages before we begin the first session. You, please.
2 minutes. Good morning, everybody. Yes, I know we're here to talk about the manifesto, but I quickly want to draw attention to the man behind the manifesto, which happened to be the presidential candidate of our great party, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Just 3 points very quickly. I like to describe Nigeria, the state we are now, like a pregnant woman who is long overdue. Not just that the pregnancy is long overdue, the pregnancy is complicated. If you are such a husband of that woman, or a brother, sister, friend, I'm sure during delivery you're not going to look for anyhow doctor. Probably some of us, we fly such a person abroad, look for the best. You look for an experienced midwife who is going to help take delivery of that child. That's the state we are in this country, a complicated state, long overdue for prosperity, for greatness. At this time, we need an experienced midwife who is going to help bring delivery. And we're lucky to have such a person as our candidate in the person of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Number 2, this is for me very personal. And this is the first stage I'm going to be saying this. We need a bold man as president. I have very attracted to people who are very bold and courageous. I always said, you don't have to be an economist, a security expert, an engineer, and to be able to fix Nigeria. What some of our leaders lack is the political guts, the political will, the political tenacity to be able to cause change, where boldness is not in us. I need my next president to be a man who can stand before the UN General Assembly to challenge policies that affect the continent of Africa and Nigeria. The man who will have the guts to be able to stand before other presidents to challenge policies. When I hear our candidate talk about global warming, how they want to tie us into the same policies of global warming, what we emit, the carbon emission in the entire Africa is not even up to what they emit in one nation. And nobody in Africa, our presidents, can stand up to challenge such policies. We need a man who is very, very bold. And I see that man as Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a very bold and courageous man. When he went to Chatham House and he was giving his speech, the white man the anchorman who was, anchoring the program, mentioned how oils are being stolen. Like my team just scored when we were playing soccer. You know how excited we are. I was just excited in my room. Why? While the man was trying to demonize us as Nigerians, I've lived in America for 19 years. I went to America at the age of 22. I know what it is when you introduce yourself as a Nigerian. They all categorize us as fraudulent people. But Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu quickly interrupted and said, not only the people who are stealing the oil, those who are buying stolen products, they are equal to those who are stealing it. I was excited. I said, that's the kind of president I need, a man who is very, very bold. Let's take that message out there that we need a bold president who will be able to service this country. Number 3, lastly, as a youth, this is very personal to me. And one of the reasons I went further in the aspiration was because I needed a youth representation. People often ask me, why will you spend such an amount of money in that? I said, the voice of the youth need to be heard. I'm glad the statistics just came out of 76% of those who have collected their PVC are youth. Over 130 million Nigerians are between the age of 15 and 30. And yet, the youth will be greatly marginalized. I've often asked, where are the leaders who are going to prepare us for the future? The leaders are supposed to prepare the future for us and also prepare the future, prepare us for the future. Apparently, we have people who don't want to carry youth along. In this election, youth have woken up. And now every candidate wants to dive into it. Every candidate wants to promise youth what they have to offer. When I looked at page 68 of the candidate manifesto talking about giving cabinet positions to 3 youth under the age of 40, and 6 more under the age of 50, and 20% appointment to MDAs, I was excited. But guess what? Every candidate can write such things. But let's look at the track record. When you were governor, how many people did you raise? I'm a pastor and also a businessman. Being a pastor, our job is to build people. So when I see a man who necessarily is not a pastor and a politician, and in him is the ability, the will to raise men, such a man, I think, needs to be supported. Now, people think I'm running all over the campaign ground because I'm a member of the APC. Far from that, I know I'm a part of APC. I'm not running all over rallies because I'm a member of the APC. I could have swear just sit at home and, cheer up and all day I vote for my candidate. But I'm passionate because of the person of Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the candidate. I know he will do well. Please permit me to just add this for the women. I have 4 kids. My first child is a girl and the others are boys. And for that, I'm passionate when it comes to women empowerment. I own several companies in America, and for months I've been away. My wife runs all my company. Every time I travel and come back, there's always addition, there's always increase. And I always wonder, why will our leaders segregate our wives, our mothers, and our sisters? Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, like every other person, including some of us who are sitting here, when you finish for governor, you become a minister. From there, you go and become a senator. They will not give anybody a chance. But here is this man, he finished as 2-time governor. Instead of going to contest as a senator, he said, let my wife go and do that. To me, that is very, very recommendable. I think the women should be cheering for somebody like Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, what we are saying, this did not just happen last month or last year. This happened years ago. It means it's part of this man. Let's go up with this message and make sure we elect. I'm not championing that we're just going to win this election. Just like it did in the primary election, let the gap between the second runner and the third runner be over 40–50%. That's what we should do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we give him another rousing round of applause? Thank you. Thank you so very much. It is going to be an election of youths, and actually one has spoken, and APC will take its rightful chunk of the youth vote. I'd like to call on His Excellency, former Deputy Governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Nkem Okeke, to give us 1 minute goodwill message, just very briefly.
I didn't know I was supposed to do a goodwill message. Anyway, Your Excellencies, good morning, everyone. I believe there are 3 things a good leader needs. A good leader must have sincerity of purpose. You must really feel good inside and really want to do well for your people. The second is vision. You must have a vision. And of course, a good vision can outlive your tenure. The last is who advises you. I looked at ASIWAJU And I see a man who is sincere and wants to create a change to make Nigeria a better place for all of us. I look at Lagos, I see the vision part. I see where Lagos is today. Excuse me, and I see the effort he's been trying to do to make sure that Lagos continues in the path of development. People say Lagos is overcrowded. Why is it overcrowded? Because there are opportunities. Opportunities for job, opportunity for wealth creation. And that's what you do as a leader. Some leaders profess building roads, building hospitals. Those are more of enablers to the vision. A vision is to move your people from one stage of life to the next stage. A vision is to be able to create jobs, give the people opportunity to create wealth. A vision is to make people's life better. Better. Leave legacies in human beings. That's what vision is supposed to do. That's what ASIWAJU will do for this country if he becomes the president of our country. The last thing is, who are your advisors? A king is as good as his advisors. When I say advisors, I'm not talking about sycophants. You must have people, when they speak to you, you listen. When they say, Mr. President, this is not right, you listen. And they give you allow them to give you the reason why they're saying this is not right. That's what makes a good leader. Now, I looked at some of the people that ASIWAJU worked with when he was governor of Lagos. And I look at them, what they're doing today. And you see the contributions they've done to the development of this country. And you say to yourself, this is a man that seems to know talent, recognize talent, and tries to develop that talent. That's what makes a leader. And that's what we have in this man. People talk about his age, his health. And I just, I shrug and I say to myself, well, people will always find a reason to be against someone. If you look at developed countries like the United States, how old is Biden? He's what, 80? President Theodore Roosevelt was on a wheelchair when he was president of the United States, wasn't he? The point is, ASIWAJU will use this. What a president needs is to be able to use his faculties, be able to assemble the right team, people of honor, people of integrity, and do what is right for this nation. And my prayer is that all of us will continue to work for that day to come where ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be elected the president of this great country, Nigeria. I want to thank you all for coming. APC Professional Forum is trying to bring more professionals into the fold of this party. And that's what we're trying to achieve. Let's put square pegs in square holes. We can't allow wrong people to continue to rule this country. We must do what's right, what's needed to get the right people, people of integrity, accountability. And I say one thing, and I'm going to keep on talking. Even if we bring Jesus Christ to Nigeria, we can't fix this country unless we do one thing. One, we must make sure people are accountable. We must fix the judiciary. If I commit a crime and I get arrested, let me get tried. If I'm found guilty, let me go to jail. That's the way a country will run. We are not any different. America is not any different than us. The human beings there are the same people. It's just there are more checks and balances in the United States than in Nigeria. So we must make sure we put our own checks and balances in order, put our institutions in order, so things will continue to work. I thank you all for coming. God bless you.
Thank Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And now we'll go to the panels, panel discussions. Our very first panel would get the first keynote paper, and then we'll call in those that will do the discussion. Her Excellency Oluremi Tinubu, from being First Lady of Lagos State to Senator of the Federal Republic, a lot of people know so much about her. I refer to her as a patron saint of good causes. You know, she's one person who's been a beacon of inclusivity. She's one person who's been a champion of women's rights and development of youth as well. I know that while she was in the hallowed chambers, she initiated this very unique program called the Good Boys and Good Girls program, you know, where she was dealing directly with the young people in Lagos called area boys and girls. You know, she engages them, she meets with them, she even brings an Islamic cleric, you know, and a Christian pastor to pray for them. And after praying for them, she detoxifies some of them. Then she gives them 100,000 to start businesses. Some keep hustling and they give that 100,000 to their wives. But it's gone on for years and years and years. A very compassionate woman who is the light in the home of our presidential candidate, His Excellency ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu. She's our guest and will be delivering the speech. In her stead is the frontally intellectual Dr. Asabe Veleti Bashir, the Director General Women Campaign Team of the APC, who would be here to deliver the paper on behalf of Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Can we give her a rousing round of applause as she comes to deliver the paper on women and youth empowerment?
Thank you very much. Let me start by recognizing the host, His Excellency Malam Isayuguda, a brother, and the chairman of BOT APC Professional Forum. I have a long speech to read, so let me quickly recognize all the dignitaries on the front row and our dear participants. Without you, we wouldn't be here. Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to represent Her Excellency, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, who is unavoidably absent. She has asked me to read her speech and asked me to apologize for her inability to be here physically. Let me start by congratulating the APC Professional Forum for hosting its second edition. I attended the first one. It was a huge success, and this is another second edition, and it's really, really successful. I'm so proud to identify with this organization. So permit me to go through the speech of Her Excellency. It's very long, but I will try my best to read through very fast. It gives me great pleasure to address the esteemed audience of professionals in our party, the All Progressives Congress, APC. Today, I will be speaking on some matters that are especially close to my heart and for which I have passion and particular interest on. I will be presenting what the women and youth of Nigeria should expect from our great leader, my husband, and by God's grace, the incoming President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, come May 2029, by the grace of God. I will start with sharing ASIWAJU's plans for the women folk of Nigeria by lifting a quote from the party's Renewed Hope 2023 manifesto. If Nigeria is to reach its fullest potential, we must give every person and segment of the population a fair chance to make their best contribution to the well-being and betterment of our nation. That's the quote. The government of ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu promises to provide equal and inclusive opportunities and platforms to ensure our women excel in all areas of Nigeria's economy, social, and political sectors. This will be achieved by creating the enabling and empowering environment to deliver these goals and objectives. Economically, we will encourage our financial institutions to give more and broader loans and incentive schemes support to women-owned businesses. Our women are not lazy. We see them toiling to build homes and raise children on their meager earnings. ASIWAJU recognizes that all the women need is the right and timely support to prosper. As governor of Lagos State, he championed many women support initiatives that lifted several families out of their economic challenges. This is why, to this day, Lagos women continue to sing his praises in appreciation of his unwavering devotion and dedication to their welfare and progress. Secondly, we will fight for and defend the dignity of our women. As we did in Lagos, as we did in Lagos State, through the establishment of the Democratic and Sexual Violence Agency, we will encourage all states to institute SAME and combine it with the efforts of the police gender units. We will create a safe environment via sponsored legislation to support and protect victims of domestic violence and abuse, and establishment of online and offline counseling and whistleblowing platforms, and the creation of safe sanctuaries nationwide. We will work proactively with the judiciary to ensure prompt prosecution of offenders, push for more stringent penalties for convicts, and better equip our law enforcement agencies with necessary modern forensic and investigative tools. Socially as well, we will push for increased gender parity in education. We will ensure that the female child gets a fair chance at access to basic and post-basic education. We will promote nationwide support programs to ensure the girl child stays in school and she is not exploited by circumstances, and is provided a safe environment for healthy mental, social, and physical development. Our girls are very smart and intelligent. In appreciation and recognition of their intelligence, the girl child will be encouraged to pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields, etc. This will be achieved through 1. Use of education support scholarship. 2. Structured mentorship and internship. 3. Incentivized entrepreneurial and vocational training programs. We will build on the current administration's social intervention programs with greater emphasis on empowering women and youth towards uplifting more families into collective wealth and prosperity. Politically, we will work with the National Assembly to promote greater representation of women in the government's MDAs. Our goal is to have at least 35% female representation at all levels of government. We will also work towards progressively improving on the number of female lawmakers at the state and the national level. I believe she deserves a round of applause, because these are the things that the women of Nigeria have been clamoring for over the years, And we just lost the same in the last, in this very assembly. So I think it is a very good development in the right direction. I'm a woman, and I'm a beneficiary of ASIWAJU's commitment to empowering women folk. Although I have always been passionate about charity work, and I invested greatly in women and youth development as First Lady of Lagos State, it was with the support of my dear husband that I was able to also take on political leadership roles. As we all know, Her Excellency, after her First Lady, she has been, this is the third time she's returning as a Senate of in the Hallowed Chambers. So I think our ASIWAJU deserves a round of applause. She is a third sitting member of the Senate as we speak. We need to institutionalize female inclusion and representation in politics and governance. This is ASIWAJU's pledge to the Nigerian women. Now, as a mother, let me also share ASIWAJU's plan for our intelligent, energetic, industrious, world-beater youths. We all grew up with the popular mantra, youths are the leaders of tomorrow. This is a true, but the truth is not literal. Leadership is a groomed position. The incoming Tinubu/Shettima administration will focus on empowering our teeming 70 million youths through job creation and entrepreneurship support efforts and policies. As a mother, I know that one of the biggest challenges youth face is the fear of tomorrow with its uncertainties. This often leads them to take poorly considered risks and make bad decisions. As we are all aware, our youth now have gone nuclear into all these social vices. So this is what Her Excellency is saying here. And as parents, it is our job to create the right environment for our wards to flourish, to grow in self-confidence, to learn to be self-sufficient, responsible, and useful member of the society. This is also a key responsibility for the leadership of the nation, whom we are clamoring for. To this end, the next APC-led administration will address the issues by increasing opportunities and channels for each access to credit to start businesses. The incoming administration will work with and encourage commercial banks to provide and set aside a quarter of their projected credit provisioning for youth-led enterprises at appreciably low interest rates. We will encourage the creation of innovation and productivity hubs for youths to present their ideas and have same reviewed for marketability and utility. These hubs will generate business ideas, validation reports, which will be used in partnership with commercial banks to vet loan applications. Commercial banks will also be encouraged to ensure their loan application processes are simplified and that they give greater priority to young people and women with marketable ideas. This will be implemented across the Federation by the grace of God. The incoming Tinubu/Shettima administration will create opportunities and channels for business mentorship for youths. The initially mentioned innovation and productivity hubs will serve as incubators for intergenerational business mentoring. Also, the administration will seek the cooperation and volunteer services of 2 million entrepreneurs and professionals across the nation to work with young people over the course of its tenure. We believe this foundation will lead to critical thinking, structured reasoning, accountability, and positive personal development. These salient ingredients will empower the youth in finding employment, honing jobs skills, and creating businesses. We will inaugurate a Youth Advisory Council to champion the perspective and pain points of youth in the development of policies and solutions as it relates to the youth. We believe inclusion and communication make for seamless cooperation and collective progress. Furthermore, we believe that the National Youth Service Corps is long overdue for a holistic, modern, and progressive reform. As the last conveyor belt of graduates from academic pursuits to real-life employment challenges, the ASIWAJU administration believes that the NYC can be restructured in such a way as to benefit the private sector and youths directly. This will be achieved by proactively encouraging and incentivizing corporate recruitment and possible retainership of employees directly from the scheme. As stated earlier, we will champion the creation of business incubation centers, innovation and productivity hubs. These centers will help incubate, mentor, and support youth innovators and investors, and also inventors. We will increase the ease and robustness of intellectual property registration and protection, that is, copyrights, patents, and trademarks. These centers or hubs will serve as technology research and innovation production lines to showcase Nigeria's teeming youth talents to the rest of the world. In governance, the Tinubu-Shetima administration will reserve cabinet position for youth and women. When my husband and his vice presidential candidates are elected, my humble self and Her Excellency Hajiya Nana Shetima will advocate for a presidential directive requiring that a minimum tangible percentage of political appointments at MDS levels be reserved for qualified women and youth. For everyone that recalls ASIWAJU's stewardship in Lagos State from 1999 to 2007, this has always been a core principle of the Jagaban of Nigeria. Several members of his cabinet and staff were young, vibrant men and women, brimming with ideas and passion. It is no longer a surprise that 15 years after his two-term tenure, those he mentored and nurtured are now mentors and nurturers themselves. Because ASIWAJU believes progress should be measurable and accountable, the administration shall institute a biannual State of the Youth survey to create a platform for encouraging young Nigerians to give feedback to the government regarding pain points of concern. In line with the above, we will establish a presidential fellowship scheme to give talented and determined young Nigerians new opportunities to experience and participate in governance and politics from an early age, just as we did with the one-day governor program in Lagos State. Most of the beneficiaries have turned out to be great influencers in their chosen careers today. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, from the time he emerged on the political landscape of Nigeria, ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu has proven himself to be a visionary leader and a pathetic man of people, a patriot, a detribalized Nigerian, and a religious moderate. His capacity to envision a future beyond the imagination of many and his tenacity to bring that same vision to life has been studied and lauded globally. This is a man who has done it before and transformed Lagos State. Given the chance, he will definitely bring progress and prosperity to women, youth, and vulnerable citizens of Nigeria. God bless APC family. God bless ASIWAJU Tinubu. God bless Nigeria. Thank you very much for listening. Okay, okay, all right. I'm directed to
Please, can we give her a rousing round of applause? Thank you so much, Dr. Asabe Bashir, for delivering such a very insightful paper from Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu. And of course, you've heard it all from her, how the manifesto of ASIWAJU would position our youth and women in everything from entertainment to agriculture to digital economy and so on and so forth. Now we'll go into the session. I would like to call on the panelists, and then I would hand over to the moderator for the session. To join us in this session on youth and women, of course, naturally, would like to invite Your Excellency Felix Nicholas to kindly take a seat here. The youngest presidential candidate amongst all the candidates can we give him a rousing round of applause and encouragement? I'm sure he certainly has a lot to share with us, sir. Please. Would also like to call on the ED of Nexim Bank, Mrs. Stella Okutite. Can we please welcome her with a rousing warm applause, please? Thank you so very much. You're most warmly welcome, ma'am. It's my singular honor and privilege to invite most distinguished Senator Magari Chuba Alkadibo to please make way to the stage and join this highly esteemed panel discussion on women and youth empowerment. Can we give her a rousing round of applause? Senator Magari Chuba Alkadibo, you're most warmly welcome, ma'am. Thank you so very much. Yes. Okay. All right. At this point, I would like to invite the CEO of the National Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dapiri Erewa, who will be the moderator for this all-important panel discussion on women and youth empowerment. Can we please welcome her with a rousing warm applause? Well done.
Thank you very much and good morning. Your Excellencies, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and panel. We've all heard Mrs. Tinubu's speech. Once again, another round of appreciation for that beautiful speech. But before we begin, I just want to read through particularly what the ASIWAJU manifesto says for women. It says, equity and fairness for women will be a top priority in the Tinubu government. Gender equality and the economic empowerment of women shall be at the heart of the national agenda. We shall not stop until women have an equal chance to enter. And one thing, as we all heard, is that this is the man who made his wife, encouraged his wife to become a senator for 3 F and U. And I'll tell you what it means, you know.
For the S, you know, is social inclusion. That's what all our women are yearning for. We want to be part and parcel of governance. We want to be part and parcel. We are tired of hearing the word women empowerment. And when I went through this, I saw someone thinking in my own mind, you know, putting it in letters for others to read. He's talking about women engagement, and that is what the Nigerian woman wants. She wants to be engaged. She doesn't want to be given a pumping machine or a pump. No, you could give that. Those are add-ons. But we want to be part and parcel of governing our country. We want to be part and parcel of implementing policies, of advocating policies that will shape in and the finance at very, you know, moderated interest rate. And that is what the Nigerian woman is looking for. She's looking for access to finance without you asking her to bring her grandfather's collateral and all of that. And that's what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is working and is willing to give to us. I remember in education parity, he has that project for all women. He wants to see that Nigerian women will be well educated, well equipped to run policies and governance. Sorry, ma. Then you go now to the F. Fighting domestic violence and abuse. If you go into the manifesto, you see it's well spelled out. His government will not tolerate violence against women, violence against the girl child. And that's what all mothers, that's what all women are looking for. And he's not just stopping it there. He's talking about creating safe havens, meaning shelter homes for our women. So you don't just cry out. You also have where you can, you know, lay your head, get empowered, helping the most disadvantaged. We always say the most disadvantaged in the society are women. The professional women sitting here will be part and parcel of the implementation of all he has said in the manifesto. We now make, we now make 49% or 48% of the voting population. So thank God he has addressed us before that number came out. Because before now we were boasting, we are the bulk of voters, no more. Now we are 48%. But the good news is that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has created a big space for us, despite that number. So congratulations, women.
Well, thank you very much, Stella. That was a very powerful point you have made, which will take me to Mrs. Chiba Okadigbo. We've read the manifesto. We've seen that it's elaborate, it's detailed. And we know that as somebody who has done this in Lagos, and I'm glad Mr. Dele Alake is here, one of those that has worked with ASIWAJU over the years and has shown exemplary leadership too. What do you expect in terms of implementation from a man like ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu? NNPC. So in terms of implementation, and what we heard from Stella, and Chief Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, what are your expectations?
Good morning, everybody. Having Stella sit next to me is a bit dangerous because we're talking of a woman and a youth combined in one person. So you can see the passion that she has. For me, it's been a worthwhile experience, something as a woman you never expected to get to. But today, yes, indeed, I sit as chairman of the board of the biggest outfit in Africa, and it's a very humbling experience, I must tell you. On the board, again, we have 3 women on the board. It's a board of 11, and yet we have 3 women. And I think that's a very fair representation of women. Their voices are heard, and even when the voices don't want to be heard, I make sure I give them the space to be able to speak up. For me, education is the main thing, because it's the education that puts us women in places of authority and in places of privilege. I have also found out that one thing we need to introduce in Nigeria, believe it or not, is adult education. I've come across a lot of people, especially women, who didn't have the opportunity to go to school and are desperate to have that formal education. So I think formal education for the adult is something I would plead that the Tinubu-Shettima administration seriously considers. Adult education, because there's no end to learning. We learn every day. If we don't have this education in place, it limits our chances and opportunities as women. Women themselves want to be educated. There's no limit, there's no boundary to education. So it's something I would like to introduce to the administration, that we begin to think seriously of adult education. There's no end to education. So that would be something I would like for the administration coming in to take seriously.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we appreciate our board chairman? Thank you very much. I will take it from your point of adult education and say a very good recommendation. I say that again, Lagos has set an example for that. So when ASIWAJU becomes president, I'm sure it's something that will be nationwide. In Lagos State, under his leadership, governorship, there were a lot of adult retreat centers created, and a lot of adults were encouraged to go to school when they didn't have the opportunity. So again, another plus. I think he's already done that, and he will do it again. So I'm sure your advice will be well taken. Thank you very much, madam. I'll move to you, our youngest presidential aspirant. You've heard both of them. I want you to speak. Number one, as in your speech, you said it there that you don't just go to rallies for the fun of it, and I know I've seen you at every rally, most of the rallies. And like you said, you're not going because you can as well sit at home and just clap. But you go there to show support, and then you're a youth and also a lover of women, right? All right? No, in the nice sense, you all get it, don't you? Let's clap for him, right? The only guy amongst us and supporting us. So, Mr. Nicholas, and I want you to, although we have a youth forum, but based on what you have heard, and then again what Mrs. Tinubu said about, and that's talk, about doing something about youth service. I just want you to touch on all those points, and then are we also conveying that message enough? Our manifesto is rich, it's deep. I mean, if you read it alone, it's not for you to say, I'm electing you. But are we doing enough of that, conveying the information? And what more do you think we can do? And thoughts on all that. And then in terms of women emancipation too, for which you're here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity to the organizers of this program. And thank you for being that a supporter of women. Very quickly, if you're not able to attend some of these rallies, I would really encourage that you live stream, you watch it on TVC or any of the live stream, because in them you hear our candidates speak more to what is written here. You hear him elaborate more on the things he wants to do. Now, I'd like to throw a few personal examples so that I can convey this message to us, especially to the youth, and for us to do more, to add to this. I think we are not selling it more. I think we are not saying it more. We need to be able to pass the message more. And I'm so glad that Dele Alake is here, who is the head of this department. I think we need to be more on the network. We need to see so much of this that our candidate is saying. Sometimes in the rally, because of the excitement, the joy, they tend to overshadow him when he's bringing out some point. For example, growing up in Nigeria, it was very difficult for me to go to school as a young man. I remember my dad was telling me I'm the 6th born out of 8 children. My mom said to me, we don't have money for you to pay your school fees. We need you to stay at home. Let your elder brother go first before you go. I wasn't going to have that as a young man. There was a teacher in my church who I went to meet. I pleaded with her. This is what my mom wants me to do, but I'm not willing to sit back at home. That woman helped me. I got admission into secondary school. Then John Oyegu was the governor of the state. The first 3, GSS1, GSS2, and GSS3 was free education. Then he left as governor. The new governor brought school fees. How much was the school fees? It was just 300 naira. My parents could not afford it. I went to SS1, because the teacher loved me. The first term, they'll tell me, Nicholas, you pass, but we can't give you your result. They'll promote me to SS2. SS2, Nicholas, you pass, to SS3. When it was time to write the WAEC, they said, you cannot enroll in this school because you are owing us a lot of school fees. That was when NAPTEP came. I went to another school, I wrote my NAPTEP, I got it, wrote my job, and I went into school. But the story changed when I went to America. They looked at my finances. I was not able to pay for school fees. They gave me a scholarship. They gave me student loan. As a matter of fact, my first car in America, it was the leftover of the money that I got that I used to. I was so excited knowing that I can go to school with this. That's exactly what I hear our candidate introduce. So the first time, when I heard him say it, I've not heard politicians in Nigeria talk like this. And that is why I always believe you need somebody who has experienced a life outside the shores of Nigeria to understand the system. Being somebody who has lived in America before, he understands the system. So when he's bringing these policies, I said to myself, I wish people will understand how far this will help the Nigerian youth. Whereby people go to school in America today, doctors, if you ask 80% of them, they were able to go to school because there was student loan. And the student loan has nothing to do if your father have a house or not. So he's trying to, if you look at the manifesto, he's talking about a credit system whereby as a student, you can get loan, go to school. When you graduate, you start paying your loan. And even when, how do you pay your loan when you get a job? This is the system that ASIWAJU wants to create. And everybody, every Nigerian, I don't care the party you belong to, this is something you have to buy into. Because it helped me, I saw this system play in America, and that's what it's going to replicate. Now, how do I believe that, yes, let's clap for that. How do I believe that this man is going to do it? You see, we have a candidate, or some other candidate talked about, I save money, I do this. I want a candidate who can register and place a system in place that will put the nation on autopilot. America today is a system whereby even if you take the worst president and put there, he can't mess it up. Trump was elected as I don't know what to categorize him, as bad, or the policies, the things he was doing. It could not disrupt the system. Why? Because the system, the foundation is so solid. ASIWAJU did this in Lagos. He put a system in place to the extent today, over 15 years he has left office, Lagos has been in autopilot. This governor coming in, there's nothing you're going to do than to follow the system. As a nation, that's what we need now. I need my next president to put a system in place that will help some of us, as we come in place, to be able to run, not just politically. It talked about student loan, it talked about credit for businesses. You know, these days when people look at youth, like I said in my speech in the primaries, the only thing we're known for is SA. I am so tired of that title, SA. You have no idea. We need system. We're going to be doctors, we're going to be lawyers, we're going to be engineers, we're talking about youth, we're going to be not just politically. So apart from just the raising up men politically, we need the next president to put a system, not just in a state like he has done in Lagos, as a nation that will be able to help the younger generation. So this is one thing. The media department, those we need to do more in selling this message out.
Thank you very much. So indeed, it's about building systems, building institutions. Again, as a Lagosian, I'll still go back to Lagos. ASIWAJU ensure that when he was governor, WAEC fees of all students were paid. Because a lot of students could not even pay their WAEC fees. And then Lagos individuals get bursary awards to complete their education. Can we again clap for him for that? And a lot more that will continue. So thank you very much. Building systems, building institutions, and he has said it, that students' loans, is in his manifesto, will be a priority under his administration. And like he said, it's not about saving money. I mean, your children are hungry, and you say you're saving money. What kind of father is that? We don't want that kind of. We want a father that uses that money for your benefit, to raise you, to train you, to make you a better person, not to keep money when you're hungry. And I think he said that at one of those rallies, and I hope that message sank in. So thank you very much, our friend, our brother, the youngest presidential aspirant. Don't worry, to see me your turn sometime, maybe 20 years later, after the women. Thank you very much. I'll now move finally to my sister. Now, Honorable Asabe was a member of the House of Representatives, and she represented Chibok. Did you know that? Can you clap for this amazing lady? And while Chibok was on the stage, you know about Chibok and the terrorist attacks, this woman was always on the floor of the house, defending them, running there, having sleepless nights, sleeping in the community, and ensuring that, you know, the best of Chibok, that the issue of Chibok would be a thing of the past. She's now DG of the Women Development Center, and she's also the head of our women PCC team. She's the she guides all of us in terms of women participation under the leadership of the First Lady, Mrs. Buhari, and our incoming First Lady and incoming wife of the Vice President. So,
thank you.
Honorable Asabe, I think I just want you to round up everything. You've had the experience. You've been, you know a lot about gender. You've been in Parliament. You're now Development Center, and you've heard it all. What more do we want? Or what more should we be demanding for? ASIWAJU says power is not served a la carte. Go out and fight for it. Those that as women and say, okay, I'm pretty, it's going to come to me. Go out and fight for it. So what else do we want? Are we paying lip service to that? What should we be expecting, or what should we be demanding?
Yeah, thank you so very much. Thank you, participants. Let me round it by saying that this country is so blessed to have most of its population and youths have been neglected, as I said, over the years. And the strength of any country is on the women and the youths. This is another incoming administration that has given us its words on the issue of women and youth. The message of Her Excellency, Mrs. Oluwemi that I just read, on the risk of sounding, let me be modest by saying that it's almost like a policy statement. For the wife of an incoming president or president to be by the grace of God to give us these very strong warnings that she's going to, that the administration of her husband is going to give so much attention to these two groups that have been neglected over the years. I think it's a very, very good development. Especially the women of Nigeria. We have had it so bad that the administrations that have passed and even the present one, our complaint is please give us equity, include us to the extent of our own children and husbands through our bill only in the National Assembly. It has never been this bad. But God has heard our cry by bringing another very, very, who has done it before and is willing to do it. If you go through his track record when he was the governor of Lagos State, he has done so much for the women, even my sister women. And today in Nigeria, Lagos has women in greatest number of judiciary because of the number of women lawyers that he employed when he was governor. And a very gave the woman a chance. This is her third time in the Senate. So he has done so much for the women that we don't even need to even ask. Look at the 35% that we have been asking for since Beijing conference of 90s. Is now today coming into light without us asking. That is going to give 35% affirmative action to women in appointive and elected positions. What else can we do than to vote for such a person? So I'm assuring you that we have a guarantor in the person of Her Excellency Senator Oluwemi who is going to stand in for the Nigerian women and the youths. She has given her words, and I'm sure her words are her bond, that many women will be carried aboard, youths will be given appointments, and this is what we want. And many have testified that this is a person that likes bringing up people. We have examples. All the boys they raised in Lagos when you are going, they are now at the Home of Affairs at the national level. Minister of Works, Minister of Internal Intergovernmental, is it?
Internal Affairs.
Internal Affairs. So many look at she's here. So many of his people that were in his cabinet when he was governor, they are now at the Home of National Affairs. So we are so happy. I'm running this session by saying that please vote for the person that knows the road. ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed knows the road, and he will lead us to the destination that we want. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So vote for the person who Sabi Road. Bola Tinubu Sabi Road. So we'll be rounding up now with 1 minute final statements from the panelists, and I think it's been a wonderful panel. But you talked about his wife. I'll say a bit about his mother. You will know a man with his relationship with his wife and with his mother. We've seen his relationship with his wife, but for those of you who don't know, Alaja Mogaji, who passed away some time ago, was a very strong woman. Now, I got to know ASIWAJU first through Alaja Mogaji, because when I was walking her to a hotel room with her late daughter, ASIWAJU's sister, sit with her, take care of her, Mama, are you okay? Because she was you just want to be around Alaja Mogaji. ASIWAJU will come in, then he will appreciate me and his sister for taking care of his mother. That's how I got to know him. Then he took me like a sister, because I was always with his mother when he comes. And the love he showed his mother, the compassion, that bond, it's something that will tell who you are as a leader, as a person. So ASIWAJU is not just, he's a respecter of women. He respects them, he cherishes them, and when you treat your mother right, and you treat your wife right, what more do we want from a leader as women? So let's really do appreciate him. And we hope that he's going to win come May 29. And like everyone else has said, and I want you to make your final charges to everybody. For us as women, it's not just to go and sing and dance at rallies. We are much more than that. And I'm glad we're seeing professional women come out and say we want to take charge. So APC women, we're beautiful, we're wonderful, we're intelligent. We have a lot of women that are capable, as Mrs. Tinubu said, and I'm sure that under ASIWAJU Bola Ahmed Tinubu, all those potentials will come to light. So on a final note, I just want to have the team, in 30 seconds, can you just, okay. They said we have room for questions and answers. I thought we had just 30 minutes. Okay, so we have the privilege of taking questions. And my brother? So if you have questions from the audience, can you raise your hand? Come forward. Okay. Just mention your name, what you do, and go straight to the point. But I can see the first hand up is that of a gentleman. Can you come forward, sir? Take the microphone to him. Can we take how many questions? 20 minutes, so let's take 5. Please answer your question, straight to the point. Thank you. We have the first gentleman. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I would like to face this way. Okay. My name is Akpan Joseph from Akwa Ibom State. I'm Executive Director for Ucha Technology USA. So I ran for Senate this election. By the grace of God, I've read through ASIWAJU manifesto, looking in a way, bringing youth, young people with talented ideas into the Nigerian government. But I have an issue. My question, I want to go first to very much to a youngest presidential candidate. I know very well that after election, when the time comes for appointment, the government always loves to seek the permission or recommendation from the state parties. And at that point, many youths fall out from opportunities. So I want to ask you, what is ASIWAJU's strategy that will be able to overcome that situation? Thank you.
Thank you. So note the questions being directed to you. Who else? Can we have you? Okay, we have somebody at the back. Women, where are you? I'm not seeing your hands. Okay, thank you. I'll just call your names. I know some of you in the crowd. I'll just call you. Aisha Agbaja, I'll call you. Abu, I'll call you. Okay.
My name is, sorry. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ahmed Umar. I just came in from Apapa this morning for this program, for this forum. I'm a maritime consultant. My question is, enough women in the maritime domain. What is the manifesto doing about women in the maritime sector, please? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Sheiva Baiko, and I want to commend the organizer of this program, and I have read the manifesto, but my question now is to buttress what Senator Magarin said about formal education. The manifesto does not really address the issue of farmers' herders clash, and I think one of the major challenges is lack of education. Don't remember those days where you used to have this nomadic education. We are in the digital era now. We want to beg those people who propose those manifestos to ensure that education is taken to these rural nomads so that they can engage them on the